Hello, in this video we'll continue with our alimony problem set. This is problem number 2. If you have not yet looked at problem number 1, please view that first because this problem series does follow one another. Now Lemon and Lime were married for many years. On January 1st of year 1 they were divorced. A 12-year-old son, Limonero, has been since that date and will continue to be in the custody of Lemon. So as of January 1st, year 1, the custody has gone to Lemon for Limonero. During year 1, Lime had gross income of $50,000 and made timely payments under the divorce decree. So again, if you've seen problem 1, so far this first paragraph is the same set of facts. So this is where things change. Under the divorce decree, Lime is to pay Lemon $30,000 at the rate of $1,000 per month. So Lime is going to pay $30,000 total over the next 30 months at a rate of $1,000 per month. So once Lime pays all $30,000, the payments will stop. Now Lime's obligation is unaffected, or was unaffected, by Lemon's death or remarriage, or by Lime's own death, or by any other contingency. So even if Lemon dies, it will go to Lemon's estate. If Lemon remarries, Lemon still gets his portion. Or even if Lime dies, it still has to be fulfilled by Lime's estate, or any other contingency. Now of the amount, Lemon uses $500 of $1,000 to support Limonero. Assume the following: they're not members of the same household, the decree does not specify any tax consequences, and the decree is issued before 2018. There have been no modifications. So again, if you have yet to watch problem 1, please watch that because I go over the basics with respect to marriage and separation and whatnot and the tax consequences. This is meant to be a continuation of that. So whenever we have a income tax issue, again, we always start with our 5 questions, which by now, if you've been through my videos, you know I always start with that. So the first question is, what amount of gross income, if any? So inflows. Second question, what amount of deduction or credit, if any? Outflows, which we have 2 here, right? 2 potential issues. Lemon's receiving an inflow of $1,000 per month. Lime is paying an outflow. Then we have to ask the third question, when are those items potentially recorded on the tax return? Who has to record those items? That's the 4th question. 5th is, what is the character? We're focusing on questions 1 through 4. We're not going to worry about character. Character is a topic for a later discussion. But I will tell you the character here, everything is ordinary, potentially. If there's any tax consequences, it's ordinary character for those out there that know about characterization. So remember, when it comes to divorce and separation, the tax issues, there's really 3 major issues. And there's kind of a continuum you have to worry about. The first is what we call division of property. So there's really 3 classifications. Division of property, which is on one side of the continuum, alimony, which is on the other side of the continuum, and in the middle, we have what's called property settlement, which has flavors of both, so it's in the middle. Now remember, division of property has no tax consequences. So when it comes to alimony, you have to break up the old rules and the new rules. So the new tax law, after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, says that if the separation, the decree, takes place after 2018, then alimony has the same tax consequences as division of property and property settlement, which means there's no recognition, no income, or whatnot as a result of this transaction. And the payor spouse does not get a deduction. In addition, if there is a decree issued before 2019, but there's been a modification, and the modification states that, the modification comes after 2018. If the modification states it's not to be treated under the old law, but under the new law, and not to be taxable, then guess what? Then it will not be treated as alimony. The new tax law will apply, and it will not be treated in the traditional alimony. But if it's the old rules, then the payee spouse, which here is Lemon, has to include, and the payor, which here is Lime, gets to deduct. That's only if it's alimony and it's under the old law. Now here, we would apply the old alimony law when we go through this issue. And the reason we're applying the old is because the decree is issued before 2018, so it's much before 2019, and there's been no modifications at all. So there can't be any worries. Now, division of property, again, in my previous video, I talked about what that is. That deals with, okay, each spouse brings to the marriage certain property, and then the court rules, okay, well, just separate it out. Alimony, again, is meant to be a support item, which under the tax law has a 5-step definition, which we're going to talk about. You have 5 requirements that have to be met, and we'll go through all 5 of those. Because if we don't have alimony, it's not division of property, it's property settlement, and property settlement does not have inclusion or deduction. It's just no tax consequences, just like alimony in the new tax law. Okay, all right. So to be alimony under this criteria, under the old tax law, which is what applies here. So the first requirement is that it be a cash payment. It must be a cash payment. It can't be made in property. It must be cash, which we have cash payment here, $1,000 per month in cash. That's cash payment. That is met. All right? So that's important to understand. It can't be property. Second is that it must be pursuant to a divorce or separation instrument. Divorce or separation instrument is defined in Code Section 71 and has a few definitions. But if it's a decree pursuant to divorce, which we have here, a divorce decree, stating that one spouse is to pay another spouse, then it is considered a divorce or separation instrument with respect to the tax law. So that is met because we have a divorce decree and Lime is ordered to pay Lemon. The third element is that the divorce decree or the instrument does not specify not alimony. So to summarize that, it's a double negative, does not say not alimony. So we're not told anything about that, and specifically we're told the decree does not specify any tax consequences. So tax consequence would be part of, specifying that would be part of this. So since we're not told, that means it's met. So it does not say it's not alimony. So the fourth requirement is that the payor and payee spouse are not members of the same household at the time of payment. They're not members of the same household. And again, in my previous video, I explained the policy and the reasoning behind this. And we're told specifically they're not members of the same household at any point. And it's really focusing on they're not members of the same household at the time of payment. Finally, the fifth criteria says that payor stops paying, so Lime here, stops paying on death. And I would even go further to say death and remarriage. Payor stops paying on death. So death or remarriage is really key here. And the idea again is that alimony is meant to be support. And when you get married and you do that contract, death do us part, sickness or for health, take care of you, all that stuff. You're a contract. There's a contract there. And then when the spouse dies, you no longer have to provide. Even if divorce occurs, or if you get divorced and then someone remarries you, then there's a new contract that takes place. So that's why that's here. Well, we're specifically told here that Lime is to pay Lemon $30,000 at the rate of $1,000 per month. Lime's obligation was unaffected by Lemon's death. Boom, right there. This is not alimony. So if it's not alimony, and it's not a division of property, this is property settlement. And this does seem like what property settlement is. So because this is property settlement, the payee, Lemon, does not have to include. And the payor, Lime, cannot deduct. So nothing happens. There's no tax consequences to either party. There's nothing reported on the tax return. Lemon does not have to include. Lime does not get a deduction. And the fact about the child support, the portion used for child support, it's irrelevant because Lemon doesn't include. Child support wouldn't be included, so it's irrelevant. So this is property settlement because it does not meet the 5 criteria of alimony, and therefore lemon does not have to include and lime does not get to deduct.